What is going on, everyone? James Livingston here, back again, bringing you guys a video just reviewing the market as a whole today, kind of what took place. Obviously, we did see a lot of blood in the market, a lot of downside movements, particularly in the ETFs, SPY, QQQ, IWM, IBIT, etc. And then, of course, a lot of the Magnificent Seven, including NVIDIA in particular. So there's a lot of stuff going on right now. I think there was some tariff stuff announced today as far as from Mexico. They were going to affect, I believe, March 4th or so. But overall, today, I feel like it was just a technical breakout to the downside in a way. We'll get into that in just a second here, and what kind of we saw in the Discord. If you guys are in the Discord, we had a nice 590 put for today. Around like 2 in the afternoon or so, 2:30, and I mean, as you can see by the price, up here 585, we had a massive downside move. And I'll show you exactly kind of like what went into that thought process, as well as obviously analyzing the rest of the market here. So first and foremost, the number one thing I want to point out to us all is that we are definitely starting to shift towards more of a downtrend on the daily time frame, and I believe, let me put my EMAs on, I believe possibly on the weekly. Yeah, so on the weekly time frame, even we're starting to show as we get ready to close out this week, possibilities of a push down, at least into those upper 570s, if not as low as 575, maybe even as low as the 565, 570 area. That'll depend on what kind of momentum we get here towards the end of this week, I think. As if you look on the daily time frame, you can see that we do have more downside to the 575, and then so on to the 568 area. Probably low 570s is probably going to be our temporary, I would think, our temporary bottom. But as of right now, we are still within a kind of overall trend, as far as we haven't created that new low or the lower low to really convince that this could be considered shifting to the downside. Now, if we do get a relief bounce somewhere in this area, which I think there's a good possibility we could, just because we did fill this gap from 589s all the way down to 585, just a hair under, actually. So we're just about down there. I think technically, like, the gap goes down to the, we literally just filled it. You're looking at the opening of this candle right here. The opening price was 584.36. We bottomed out here, the low 584.65. So we pretty much filled the entire gap here this afternoon. Massive move off of the break of the 590 level. So like I was saying, we're still setting in somewhat of a higher low. We haven't quite created a new low or gotten down to an equal low of 575.35. So I am still leaning in the possibility of us staying bullish for the time being, but I will say the weekly, looking at the EMAs and stuff is starting to shift. As we approach this area down here at the 570s, 572, 574 area, as we approach down to here, we do have a little bit of a potential support there, unless it just blasts right through that. In that case, we would have another little bit of a liquidity zone or demand zone down here at 566-ish, 569, 566, 569, that kind of range right there. So there's definitely more downside room to go, and I'm personally, I am leaning a little more downside. This trend that I had drawn up right here, essentially would have been the trend line from this breakout we just had in the last 3 weeks or so to create those highs at 613. But I'm not too sure that we're going to be able to hold this for too long, at least. I think there's a chance come tomorrow, Friday, we could come down and test this area before possibly getting a little bit of a relief bounce back into those high 580s. But I don't necessarily know how much more we can get unless we get some pretty decent news, because pretty solid pull down. I expect to see a little more downside before we see upside. So we'll see what happens there. But let's go ahead and break down kind of the trade that we saw today and what went into the thought process here. So this was really kind of understanding that I was looking over at the Magnificent Seven, seeing that the tech sectors and everything, we're definitely looking pretty bearish. The overall market, pretty much every Mag 7 stock was looking rough. Tesla, not really Mag 7, but you said, like Amazon, Microsoft, Apple actually stayed fairly neutral until the drop. But Nvidia being the biggest one, we can see the big drop. We can see the consolidation, but again, not setting in any higher lows. We were consistently creating equal lows and lower highs. So for me, this is signaling some form of like a wedge pattern. So we have that right there, and then we have this right here. So you can see clear as day that we had a little bit of a wedge pattern off the breakdown. We consolidated. Looks like they tried to break it out and then right away just dump, and that was, Nvidia was kind of my leading factor here, because a lot of SPY's ETF, or a big majority of SPY's ETF, is made up of Nvidia, a large percentage. So if this would go down, in turn, SPY would go down as well, at least a little bit. But with all the other tech stocks following along in suit, I kind of knew that this was going to be a bigger drop than usual. So if you look at SPY in particular, SPY had a very similar formation. Like I was saying, we were consistently setting in lower highs, lower high, all the way up until the point of the absolute dump that it took. So that was the first indicator for me. Like I said, Nvidia, a lot of the tech sectors starting to look bearish. They were all forming this kind of dropped lower wedge pattern. So to me, I've got a mat on my desk here, just as a reminder all the time of certain patterns, continuation patterns. Once you have a pull down, you're going to have a retracement, and you're going to likely either retrace and then pop up and reverse, or you retrace, have a steady up, down, up, down, up, down. And the patterns, honestly, they kind of form pretty naturally. You can't go based off of entirely just patterns, but you can kind of get an idea of what it looks like. Like after we broke this, we broke down this initial low down to the 590.50, I think it was, popped back up, consolidated, came back down, set in a slightly higher low, but again, lower highs still. So we're kind of just forming this almost wedge, So I kind of noticed that right away. And then as we came up into this area here, what you wait for is a solid push down off of, something. In this case, it was off the EMA. In the moment, when I was looking at this, it was around right here. It was like 2215-ish. And I saw that we were starting to break below, this kind of area right here. Not necessarily that bottom wick on the 15, but just where price action consolidated for quite some time. You can see, we'll pull it up here just a little bit more. You can see price action had been in this area even in the morning, and had slight bounces, slight bounce. Like a lot of the price action consolidation was really in here. So as soon as we started to break this area or show weakness in this area, like I said, I already saw the wedge kind of forming here. If we look at this like here and like here, it doesn't have to be perfect. But as soon as I saw this kind of wedge breaking to the downside, then it was go time. We're looking for those continuation candles. If you follow anything in our training, our alpha training, or in our stock education in the Discord, you'll know that these are very bearish candles. Heading through a bearish continuation setup, we have bearish candles. We have one small right here that rejects off the 20 EMA. Then we have a slightly bigger candle here as well. Then we have this bigger candle here, and you can see that around the bottom end, I don't know if it's going to show, it's a little bit, yeah, there we go, it's getting a little better. You can see that the volume down here is starting to slowly creep up, right? Right here, you had some minimal, and then you had a slight increase with a bigger bar. That, to me, is showing some bearish strength. Next one, you see even more, and then even more. And then, we're heading towards the end of the day at this point, but we're already starting to head into the gap. Once we broke that 590 level, we were already into the gap. We were starting to fill it, and we still had an hour left in the day. So there was a lot of things that were kind of confluences for me that I think they were going for the gap fill before the end of the day. So that was kind of the play there. Those options went absolutely nuts. Congratulations to everyone that did end up playing that. So yeah, I just want to quickly go over, like I said, the play for today, as well as what my thoughts are going into tomorrow, going into the rest of this week, or tomorrow is the last day of the week, going into really the end of this month. I mean, if you look at the monthly candle here, that is not looking good. That is very shooting star-esque. Let me get rid of these. It's very shooting star-esque right there. It's a reversal style candle. We could be in store for finally a pullback on, you know, all the ETFs, on a lot of things. And so there's a lot of opportunity coming. We'll see how they want to play it, you know. So if you're not a part of a Discord, if you're not a part of a community, down link in the description, we do have a private Discord Alpha Stocks Lab that this video is primarily targeted towards, as far as the play that I'm talking about. You know, everyone in the Discord can tell you, I'm sure that everyone took that play, made some serious bank. So, you know, I'm happy for all you guys that were able to get in on that. But nonetheless, guys, hit that like button, comment down below, let me know what you guys think. Let me know how you made out on that play. If you did play it, I'd love to hear the gains. And yeah, I mean, subscribe if you're new. I'm going to continue to post videos educating you guys and just giving you guys as much advice as I possibly can. You know, I was once starting out, so I would love to spread the knowledge as much as possible. So you know, subscribe so that way I can just keep the motivation, keep doing this for you guys. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.